Okay, we've got some information coming in from the bar that used to be called My Way in the Gretchen Fleming case. And one of our sources, I had reported that Zimmerman may have been running around with one of the owners of My Way. You never know anything completely sure. It doesn't seem like that was true. So that's something kind of big. You don't really want to be wrong on that. So, that kind of stuff can kind of ruin reputations and hurt people, and that's not what we're out to do. But like I said, I don't 100% know, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And a lot of this stuff you got to kind of really go through with a fine-tooth comb to really try to find the truth, because I've said that the police aren't going to have the answers for you, and they still don't in this case. So I don't necessarily just want to keep bashing and saying the same thing over and over and over, but we're going to go ahead and show you the transparency that they're finally providing from the bar, because I know I had stopped in February on this case, and I was told by the bartender then that the owners weren't talking, they weren't talking to anybody, and that they pretty much were ordered not to from the police. So I think the police had pressured them into signing the non-disclosure agreements. I thought that the bar is the one that implemented that, but I guess not. So attorneys were present, so that tells you it was something big back then, but they're saying that they didn't even know that Gretchen was missing until everybody else knew it, and that they weren't even there when this whole situation went down, basically, with Preston Pierce and Jason Pape. They're saying they were gone approximately around 9:30, that they were gone and that they were both home by then, and that their home cameras and the cameras at My Way should prove that. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures of, I guess, the pipe that really did break, which I had me thrown for a loop. I thought, what are the odds? It's not even on the same day that we're talking the same morning that Gretchen came up missing on December 4th. Their pipe busted. And I remember I just started working at Vienna Lowe's at the beginning of November in 2022. I can't even say last year because we're now in 2024. But I remember there was a Sunday where customers came in all at once. We had gotten a real bad, big, deep freeze, kind of like what we're getting right now. And everybody's pipes just busted at once. And I thought to myself, could that really have been December 4th, that early? But I do vaguely recall it was before Christmas, so maybe it was that Sunday when people kept coming in all at once, because that deep freeze just happened to hit that night, which is just ironic, the whole timing of it all. But maybe it was. I don't know. But they have pictures that are time-stamped of the pipe busting, and they were standing in sewage, fecal material. So, and I guess they weren't really supposed to talk about a lot of this stuff because of that. But, and that's the nice thing, is I do appreciate some transparency, because, we were getting rumors that maybe Gretchen, that there was a private detective, not affiliated with us, but somebody had hired a private detective working the case, which anybody can do. If you've got the money for it, anybody can hire a detective to look into any case at all, even if it concerns them or not. And somebody had done that, and there was a private eye looking into it, and he confirmed that Preston really did drop Gretchen off somewhere, assuming an intersection by the police station. And we had people talking and wondering, and they said, well, if he was drunk, why would he risk a DUI to do that? But, from our understanding, Gretchen was trying to get away from Jason Pape, and Preston was her way out. So to me, the camera footage kind of proves that, or at least alludes to that, as she was following him out, and then Jason Pape walked out behind him. Now, what the bar owners are telling me, from what they gathered, at least when they were there, and they approximately left by 9:30, they're saying that Pape didn't act concerned or anything at all, that he wasn't worked up, or they didn't notice like a fight or anything like that, and they didn't seem to notice that even Gretchen seemed like she was worked up. But on another account, that's what we're hearing, is that she knew what was going to happen to her, and it was really bad. Like, it was almost unbelievable. So she was trying to get away. And Preston Pierce happened to be there because I guess he was, I don't know, something about losing his son or something, and I'm not exactly sure all the details on that. We're not exactly sure. I think we're hearing from third party getting stuff, but something about he was depressed or something because of the loss of his son many years ago through a miscarriage through his wife Nancy or something. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. And he just happened to be there, and I think he might have been the only one there, according to video footage. We're kind of hearing through the grapevine, because I haven't seen it, obviously, and she turned to him for help. So, but one of the rumors that we were hearing was that the private detective was wondering that Gretchen may have, after she was dropped off, may have walked back to the bar, and there was a fight, and this, that, and the other. I don't want to go into too many details because it's a damaging rumor, and I don't think it's even true. But that the carpet was ripped out, and they thought maybe there was blood there. But the bar owners are telling me that the carpet was ripped out later on, like in February, 2 months later. And they have a picture of a round table where the carpet was ripped out in a spot of the bar, but I don't think it had anything to do with this. At least it seems like it didn't. So, like I said, you never know anything 100% sure, but there are some details, and it's nice to have this transparency. That's why I was getting some things wrong, is because we didn't know back then, because the bar owners weren't talking because of the non-disclosure agreements. And that's my thing, is like, you know, normally it would be a felony for people to withhold information on a missing person's case, but that only applies to the police. It doesn't apply to the public. You know, I mean, we can say we're running an investigation ourselves, you know, behind the scenes, and I guess we are, but, you know, we're not paid, we're not government, we're not an authority, we're just trying to work this case because we don't think that it's going to be solved otherwise. That would only apply for the police if people were withholding information on a missing person's case to them when they contacted people. So, and Preston, by all accounts I'm hearing, is working with the police. He's been working with them, and from what we're hearing, the evidence that he has supposedly turned in doesn't exist anymore. Now, there are two schools of thought on that. From what I'm hearing is one of them's a dashboard camera that runs on a 2-week loop cycle, and the other one is what the police obtained. So they told you that they paid, on the documentary, that they paid $20,000 to drill the well in Ravenswood, only to find nothing. And then what you didn't hear is that they paid $18,000, that I'm hearing, of them getting into his electronic information on his car, like in the dashboard or something, just to see where the car went. And they still don't have anything that can pin it on him. If they did, he would be arrested by now. And apparently he checked in a couple weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and asked, they said, am I a suspect in this case yet? And I guess they told him that, no, you're still a person of interest. So, you know, it's just dragging on. And I wanted to share some of this with you to kind of clear up what I had said appears to have been a rumor about Zimmerman running around with one of the bar owners. I don't think that's true. Now, I do think that the affair with Kate, I do think that's probably true, but it is what it is. Like I said, it's only a crime because it's done on police time, and I just don't understand why there are no answers on this yet. Like, I don't know, maybe it takes a lawyer or something, but it's just funny because when I used to live in St. Petersburg in Florida, right across the bay, you've got Tampa. And this past year, a police chief, she was a woman, she was stopped on her golf cart on a routine traffic stop, and she flashed her badge. And because she said, you know, I'm a police chief, right? And because she did that, she immediately lost her job. So I don't understand why it seems like there's no real accountability here. And it's not just this city's police department. It's a lot of them, and it's been going on for a long time. I mean, we're hearing accounts of, you know, other nearby towns, Jackson County and stuff, with the police force, that they just get away with bloody murder, it seems like. I don't get it. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some of that. And, you know, I'd love to help work with the police, but half the time the problem is, that I've addressed on a previous video, is that, especially with like the drug dealers, they become confidential informants and they get off the hook. And so that's the problem. I understand you need tips from the community and stuff, but don't use confidential informants who are drug dealers to get your information. Use the public. And if nobody's willing to rat on people or tell you who's who and because of their safety, and then, I'm sorry, but you can't sit here and let people off the hook who are doing bad things, because the drugs are way out of control in this city and we've got to get a handle on that. So honestly, it would be nice to work with the police. That's what we would like to do. But of course, if I'm saying things that aren't necessarily true, then that's damaging too. And I don't want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and share these pictures and these text messages with you guys so you can kind of see what she's saying and go from there. Now, I don't think that Gretchen was necessarily murdered there now after talking to the bar owner, although a lot of it was making sense to me before. I do think it would be nice to know, because I had a theory about how all these bodies are ending up in rivers and stuff. And I'm like, what if somehow, because nobody ever hears gunshots, nobody ever sees anybody fighting or stabbing anybody. They just find the bodies of people floating in the river. And it's been, I'd say I've probably heard about 30 to 40 people found in rivers over 2023 in all of West Virginia and Ohio River. So you could say Ohio, but and Kentucky. But I just wonder if somehow these people are getting killed in the city and being flushed through the sewer system. And with the exit out at Point Park, I almost wonder if maybe somehow that's, and it's not even just this city, I'm talking like all cities. It just happens to be our exit is by Point Park for the sewer. But what if somehow like these people are somehow being killed in cities and being flushed out to rivers that way? Because I know if that would be the case, bodies would be found in the Ohio. And from what I'm understanding, the only one I remember found in the Ohio River was the one that's like right by essentially the Muskingum River by Williamstown and Marietta with Chris Schilling recently within the last month or so. But that was over there, and that wouldn't make sense. I'm not sure if where exactly he would have been murdered at. Marietta would have their sewer system as well. So it's just a theory I have. I mean, it's possible, but then again, if they're being killed, you still have to ask the question, how are they being killed and what device is being used? Because if it's a gunshot and you're in the city, people would hear it. So I don't know. It probably isn't what's happening, but it's not a bad thought. And I don't know. It's just weird how people are getting murdered like this and nobody's there to see it.